Okay, so this is the EMMC workshop for business models for materials modeling software. And so the people that are hosting the workshop today for the EMMC, apart from myself, is Natalia Konchakova and Alexandra Simpala, who are also basically both involved in the EMMC CSA project. So we are the European Materials Modeling Council, EMMC, which is really a network of different types of stakeholders. So today, we're looking here at the software part and the software owner part, but there's also translation and training, interoperability and integration of software, industrial users, and maturity levels, which we are looking at different workshops. So supporting activities such as the open simulation platforms, marketplaces, business decision support systems, and so on. And the speakers of the workshop are Mike Payne, who is going to talk about really the aspect of an academic software owner that forms a partnership with a software company, and that software company is then the distributor commercially of that software. Judith Rommel, an independent expert, talking about an academic software owner that forms a partnership with a commercial software owner, really embedding a code or an algorithm within a larger range package of softwares. Ian Bethune is going to talk about open source software. And how the funding picture and long-term sustainability of open software looks like. Georg Schmitz is then going to talk about originally academic software going in non-profit organization and distribution channels. Amit Bala is going to talk about academic software development that then launches a startup company and goes into distribution that way. And Thomas Reffel from Krems, Donau University Krems, is going to talk about serving commercial customers while also maintaining an academic career. So that highlights a number of aspects of software, bringing it, really sharing it, and ensuring wider use of software developments. So why are you here? It's really that successful software requires really a long-term view, because software, contrary to what maybe some people may believe initially, has a very long lifetime. That could be many decades that a certain code is being developed and used by a community, and that really requires sustainable development and maintenance of the software. The ownership needs to be very clearly established from the beginning, and this is becoming even more important as we go forward with increasing look and into copyright, for example, also within the copyright legislation. License models need to be carefully thought through right from the beginning. What is it going to mean for the wider use and potential commercialization, sharing of software within packages, and so on. Really to enable an impactful exploitation by a wide range of users, academic and industrial. Many ways of doing it, but it needs to be carefully thought through. So what we have done already is we've had a lot of interviews and workshops with software owners and put together this white paper, Business Models and Sustainability for Materials Modeling. That is published and available on Zenodo. So I'm just going to have a few slides about some highlights or particular pertinent points from that white paper, but please do have a look at the white paper and for further information. So who did we survey? We had a workshop, Sustainable Economic Framework for Materials Modeling Software, in July 2018 here in Cambridge, with 14 delegates from different types of software owners. We interviewed both software owners and also software users, both from an academic point of view and a commercial point of view. And whenever I talk about software owner, it's really someone who has, let's say, a copyright to a software. So that doesn't mean, software owner doesn't yet say in what way or whether it is distributed. Hence we, distinguish then a bit between academic and commercial, just to have a high level of difference here. We did a survey, and we had a number of questions on licensing, budgets, revenue, services, support, costs and value, etc. And we reviewed previous reports. There's one from the Research Data Alliance, looking at software for research data, and also reports from the Software Sustainability Institute. So just to give you a flavor of the range of types of softwares, since we're talking about materials modeling, we distinguish between these 4 types of physics-based models, namely electronic, atomistic, mesoscopic, continuum, and then also data-based models. And we had a pretty fair distribution across those. And also, if you look at the size of the ventures, we had a number of academic-based software owners. Some, of course, also have revenue as via that channel, and then a number of commercial companies, again with a broad range. A lot of them obviously in this sort of smaller, sort of 1 million, 1 to 10 million, but also some companies in the range of 100 million to 1 billion. So very large companies as well. Based on what the Software Sustainability Institute has done, we've kind of slightly modified an overview of so-called sustainment attributes for our purposes. So really to sustain software over a long period of time, one has to consider the users, the direct users, but also building a community, product management, software development, and revenue generation. So then the report looks at these different aspects and see how different business models, different ways of developing and distributing software affect or interrelate with these sustainment attributes. A few things here on the software development, the use of resources. We ask people about how much of your percentage of their resource goes into supporting what is often referred to as legacy codes. So these are maybe codes that are not any longer under active development, but still, as I said, due to the long-term use of software, may have a considerable user community and needs to be supported. Then, of course, another big factor in terms of resource use is ensuring the support of operating systems, upgrades, and so on to new systems or a wider range of operating systems, and other basically information technology related efforts. And then is the part of fixing bugs, maintaining the codes, and new development. So we see kind of a broadly speaking similar trend, both in terms of academic and commercial software owners, maybe with a slightly higher average, if you forget about this point here, in terms of new development on the academic side, and maybe a slightly higher level in terms of legacy support on the commercial side, but broadly speaking, quite a similar trend in terms of distributions of efforts. Product management is all about getting the software right, the development right in terms of the needs and requirements of the users. So we did a bit of a value comparison of what the software owners value highest, what they think their users value highest, and what the users think they value highest. And interesting is, obviously here in material science, in the field, understanding materials and processes better is a very high level on both sides. But a bit of a different distribution in terms of, speed and time to savings and insights and so on, which tends to be, more driven by understanding and getting the insights with a robust, reliable, and precise code than maybe on the software owner perspective, where there are other factors such as speed and time savings were rated higher. Interesting that sort of ease of use came kind of lowest, which is maybe also a question that needs further feedback and questioning. I think in my interpretation, it's come to a point where this is expected, that it is there, that ease of use has become quite pervasive, and so everyone expects it to be there. So if you ask them a series of questions, they think, well, ease of use is okay anyway, but maybe one can have further discussions around that. In terms of size of communities, again, this just basically shows the range of community sizes that we've had in our survey. So the number of installations worldwide can go from a few installations, so a lot of those are sort of up to 1,000, but also actually some work out quite a number with more than 1,000 installations. Revenue generation. There's on the commercial software owner side, what we found is that there is a pretty significant percentage of services that are required in the field, often related to the complexity of the topic. So without providing guidance and services that go alongside the software, not many software companies can really work in this field. So some are obviously 100% service-based, but a lot are sort of in this intermediate range of having a very considerable part of their revenue based on services. Whereas, if you look at very large-scale software businesses, they would maybe have a service range of maybe 10 to 20% maximum. So in our field, it tends to be higher than other industry averages. The other thing is that also sales cycles in software can be quite long. So this shows the minimum duration up to 12 months, and then the maximum duration really with sort of in the range of 1 year to even 3 years, which again is something that tends to be longer than many other types of software. And then the way of delivering the software, one aspect that's becoming more and more important are service-based deliverers, software as a service or marketplaces, digital online systems that enable, for example, the rollout in a much more frequent, much more agile fashion, typically reduce the maintenance costs, because software owners would not necessarily need to support so many different types of operating systems for an install base, and can give also more flexibility to the user. There has been quite a bit of skepticism and also concern regarding security and so on of such systems, but as this becomes more and more prevalent throughout companies, for example, in their IT systems, in their accountancy systems, and so on, then it will also go further into research. And all of the large software companies are now moving to cloud-based solutions. Likewise, with marketplaces, one aspect, so you could have a digital system whereby distribution happens via a marketplace. One concern software owners have is that it puts a bit of distance potentially between them and the user. And since that earlier sustainment aspect of the user contact is so important, that is, has been voiced as a concern in some of these workshops that we've had. At the same time, digital marketplaces offer a fantastic opportunity for that large range of smaller providers, of academic software owners, to reach a wide market without having their own distribution channels and so on. So that is currently quite a substantial topic, and there are also projects funded in a similar program to the EMMC, which are actually building these types of marketplaces. So that's all I want to say right now to this point. So